So what we're going to do is we're going to wire up the light into the I/O board. We're also going to put the heater onto the I/O board. When I was taking all this apart, there was no GFI, so I'm going to go ahead and install the GFI, and then we'll get this all wired up into here. I ran some wires for the light to control through the I/O board. So we'll get this all wired up, get that wired up, get the I/O board installed, and then we'll test out the lights and see how they're working.
We already have a 1.5 horse IntelliFlo3 installed, so that's good to go. We got a MasterTemp that's going to be should be a quick, easy swap, right? That's
in theory.
Should never say that in install, just say it as a swap. But yeah, we're going to swap that out too. I/O board coming up next. And with that I/O, they will be able to control their pool lights. Is there anything else that they can kind of control?
So we're going to put the heater onto here as well. So you get two relays. You get a high voltage and a low voltage relay with the I/O board. So we're going to put the lights onto it, and then we're going to run a low voltage communication wire to the heater through the fireman switch, and that'll allow them to turn it on and off. They won't be able to adjust the temperature through that. You would need full automation system to be able to do that. But this is a pool only. They're typically heating to one temperature. They're not adjusting temp, so it'll just get it to their temperature through the app. You can wire up the color lights as well and have full control of the color. Then you also can do like a jet pump, a cleaner pump, booster pump, anything of that nature. You just got to keep in mind the high voltage and low voltage relay. So on the high voltage, you could wire up a pump, a light, or anything like that. The low voltage side of it, you can wire up a light still because it's drawing very low amps, but you couldn't wire up a pump to the low voltage side of it. It's just got a lower amperage rating. So just keep that in mind when you're running those. Hot leg. Here's the yellow as the power wire. Slide back in place over here. Get the I/O board. Mount the dummy switch back. We're not running anything to that switch anymore, but we use that as a blank cover. I/O board real quick, we'll wire that up, then we'll get power back on and test the light. So on here it'll tell you got your low current side and your high current side. So you got a 5 amp max and a 16 amp max. So you can wire up a smaller pump, and then on this one you can do like a light or a blower. So we're gonna go ahead and put the light onto this guy, or actually we're gonna do the light onto the 16 amp, and then we're gonna do the whole heater low voltage onto the 5 amp. We'll go ahead and get that into the IntelliFlo now. These are super simple to install. Basically there's a little port right there. You got your screw already lined up in there. That goes right there. So you just line it up, push it back, and that's in.
And just one screw?
Yep, just one screw locks it in place. It's not going anywhere.
Seems like a big benefit of the IntelliFlo3, just being able to have this upgrade and then, you know, do some basic.
Because a lot of times you'll have like a salt system or a booster pump or cleaner pump or something along that line. So then you'll still be using the yellow face timers if you don't have the expansion board for it. With this, it allows you to kind of eliminate all of the time clocks and control it all through the pump. Wired accordingly. for a minute. Lights came on. Make sure our GFI is reset. There we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open up our Pentair app. It's Pentair Home for this. And we're going to go ahead and click on the Pools tab. I already have mine set up. So we'll go ahead and hit the plus button. We're going to be adding the IntelliFlo3, continue. And we're going to use Bluetooth for this. I'm going to go ahead and make sure Bluetooth's on. Go over here. And we'll hit the connect button until we get a blue flashing light. That came on. So now we're going to go ahead and continue and enable Bluetooth. Continue. And it pulled it right up right there. And pair. Right now we're going to skip this for now, but when I set it up on the customer's phone, I have them go ahead and connect it via Wi-Fi. Then they have full control of it from anywhere. They don't have to come out and press the button to connect with Bluetooth or anything like that. It's just an instant connect. So we'll skip that for now. Continue. This is where we can rename the pump. So when we have a lot of customers, we go ahead and name it after their last name or something of that nature. For this purpose, I'm just going to put Home Show Special, save, and that just helps us differentiate it between properties. We can have multiple on here. Skip. So this is going to be the basic menu that you'll see in the beginning. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to connect the I/O board and add the relay to it. So we're going to go ahead and hit the settings, go to the relays. We're going to add both of these. So the low voltage one, it's going to be other. We're going to nickname that heater. There's an other. I'll label that one as other as well. Lights. We've got to make sure that we do uncheck speed and flow dependent. For heater, we can leave that on because the heater has to have flow behind it to activate, but the light does not need any kind of water flow. So let's save that setting. Go back. Now we got our front menu. We'll go ahead and create a new program. Delete that out. Call this lights. And that's going to be a manual. Pump is not activated. We are going to make that for lights. We're going to hit save. Now we have our lights. So go ahead and turn them on. Enable the pump first. So now the light should have came on. Let's go ahead and check the pool. Yep, the light is on. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. And let's go back on. All right, light is working through the app.
Heard the pump kick on too? So
yep, we just got to plumb that discharge, and then we're going to swap the heater, run the low voltage over. I like to, when I have an I/O board or I'm doing some more additional wiring to the system, I'll wait to plumb the outlet to the very end so that I can actually kind of sit down on the pump and get to the behind the boards back there and have access first hovering over the piping. So now we'll go ahead and swap out the heater, run the comm wire, and then we'll go from there.
what year is this MasterTemp, would you say?
This one, 2013 is what the date stamp is. I was going to peg it a little bit older.
Yeah.
But yeah, manufacture date, February of 2013.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that Arizona sun making it look a little older than it actually is.
Just like it does to us.
That's right.
Easy swap out.
I said this, I keep regretting that every time I say easy.
Oh, I do it all the time, my
man.
friend.
So would you say that's, if you get 10 or 15 years out of a heater, that's pretty good?
I like to say 10 years. Anything over 10 years is bonus years.
Okay. So this one's on point.
Yep. It's just, you got to think about it. Chemicals are going through the unit all the time, so it never really gets a break.
Right.
I think that was on there. Remember when I told you that stubborn bolt on the newer MasterTemps? We'll see it again in a minute. But here on the older one, the stud's not coming up right there. So we can actually get to this electrical cover a little bit easier.
Huh. So they actually redesigned it and it got worse.
They sealed up the exchanger to make the exchanger a little better, a little bit more sealed up. And by doing that, they added the studs versus these band clamps that they were using originally. And those studs just so happen to line right up with that electrical cover. They could kick it 2 to 3 inches to the left or right, I would love it.
If you're watching Pentair, you heard it here first from the field.
Turn the power on for that light for a second.
Yeah, that's right.
Bond out of there. Gas line. We'll have to take out. Gotta do it in sections so that it comes out of here. That one. The old one out. Grab the new heater. Gas line first. Grab the gas cap. And paste.
Tight.
Interesting.
Very, very tight.
That's more like it. That's it for a little bit. I'll crack open the electric side. Now we got that stud back up there. voltage. We're going to hook up the communication wire. Drop it in the metal electrical compartment right here. And we're going to pull off the fireman switch, which are these two yellow wires. Now, take it over the communication wire, and we'll feed it up through the side panel, up through the top of the metal box, and down into our compartment. Strip this back. And we're going to be using two wires. You can crimp on alligator clips, or you take the fireman switch, cut it in half. This is the typical thing you'll see. Strip it back. Take the wire nut. Go ahead and plug back onto our terminals. That back up. There. Alright, I'll pull on the top, and then we'll turn on the heater with the app, make sure that's all working, and we'll be all finished up with this one.
How many, well, I was gonna say, how many years did it take you to feel really comfortable doing all of this? Or maybe it didn't take years, maybe it take 6 months, I don't know.
I'm a rare breed. So my very first job I had ever done, I had never done plumbing or electrical. I went out and I did a complete equipment set, kind of like the big job that we did together. It was like 6 pumps, 2 filters, 2 heaters, automation panels. And
That was one of your first jobs?
that was one of my very first jobs.
What?
Yeah. I know what can be made and everything, and I needed a truck, and so I tackled the job, and I called and asked for help, and nobody wanted to really help with it because they wanted to make the money on the job, but I figured it all out, did it all, and then I called somebody to come do an inspection on it before I started everything up. They came out, looked at everything, and offered me a job.
I mean, you have an engineering background too,
Yeah.
right? So that I'm
Yeah.
sure helps a little bit.
So it's a little different, but if you think about it with plumbing, you want your sections to meet. So like if I'm doing a 90, you can see where the end of the pipe comes up to inside there. So basically it's about to right there, and then I need it to come to right there. So that's my gap. So it's not that huge of a gap, but the ends almost meet. So I just need my pipes. If I'm doing a 90, I need it to meet like right there, because then I know the 90 is going to come up to there, come up to there. I got that little finger gap right there, and I'm going to be perfectly lined up. So whenever I'm doing my plumbing, I dry fit it a little bit, but not all the time. Before I got that 90 on, that's what I was doing. Is I pushed the 90 all the way down. I measure up where these two are going to meet up. That's where I make my cuts, and I take everything back off. I glue on my fittings, make sure that these two are going to line up, and then I put my glue and primer on. So it took me a little bit to master gluing ahead, you know, because sometimes you can get to a point where, say I already glued my 90 on here, now I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have glued that one, you know. So it does take a little bit to master that portion of it. Also, play the game pipes.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Just kind of makes you understand the way the water's flowing.
Yeah, totally. Pipes, not a paid endorsement here, for the record. But I might have to download that after.
But it is, you just make all, you make your joint connections, and then you can kind of see the water's coming in this way, goes up this way, goes there, you know, and then as you see how the game works too, it's almost the same theory behind plumbing.
How long do you have to put the pipe on there like that?
So it really depends on the glue that you are using. So this particular one, it's called Pool Tight. It's blue red hot glue. And I like using this on jobs where I'm going to turn it on the same day I'm doing an install, because it only takes about 5 to 10 minutes of cure time before I can run it. They have the gray body glue, which takes about 30-45 minutes to fully cure up. You get roughly about a minute to 2 minutes with the gray glue. With this glue, you get more like 15-20 seconds. Sometimes quicker. Depends on temperatures too. During the summer, it dries a lot quicker. So sometimes you only have like 5-6 seconds and you're sealed up and you're like, oh, whoa. All right, let that dry up a minute. We'll go grab a bucket, prime up the pump, turn this all on, make sure the heater fires up with the app, inform the homeowner that it is now GFI protected. Get the heater going. Trip the breaker. Home source special, attempting to connect. Because we're doing Bluetooth, it takes it a second to establish the connection, but once you got Wi-Fi on, there we go. Now it's connected. So now let's go ahead and create a new program. We're gonna name this one heater. And pump will be activated, and we're gonna activate it to 60 gallons per minute for heating. And that's gonna turn on the heater and the pump. So we're gonna save that. And let's go ahead and shut our heater bypass valve. So now we've got water flow going through the heater. And now we're gonna go ahead and activate heater. We're gonna run now. You hear the pump start ramping up in speed. It's getting itself up to 60 gallons per minute. We're at 56 gallons per minute now. Now on the initial setup for the heater, I will have to turn it on. I'm going to set it to 85 for now. So now heater is on. We'll hear it fire up in a second. So there the heater fired. I'm going to go ahead and stop it. Heater turned right off. Pump's going down to the low speed. So we'll have full control of the light, the heater, and the pump with this particular system. And then we'll just get with the homeowner, set his schedule the way that it needs to be. Typically I do a two-stage schedule. I do low speed for 6 hours, high speed for 6 hours, low speed at 30 gallons per minute, high speed at 60 gallons per minute. If it's a bigger pool, I'll increase flow or increase hours. But for this particular one, we'll do program 1, edit. We'll call this one low speed. That's a schedule. It's coming on all days. We're going to go 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. That's at the 30 gallons per minute. Save that schedule. We'll go ahead and create a new one. Go to schedule. It's on all days. We'll nickname this one high speed. High speed. And this one we're going to go up to 60 gallons per minute. Actually, go 65. So that one's coming on 6 a.m. New, save. And that's going to show us our low speeds, 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. The lights turn on manually. Heater turns on manually if we want it to turn on. It'll also turn on to the correct speed. And we have our high speed set from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then quick clean we can set for however long we want. So I typically do it as a 2-hour on the high speed, those 65 gallons per minute. And this is if you're outside of your run schedule. So like at noon, this pump's going to shut down. Say you're having people over or you want your waterfall going, you just go ahead and hit quick clean run now. It's going to run at that high speed for 2 hours or whatever time you set it to. Then it'll automatically shut off and go back to its automatic schedule. You don't have to worry about turning it off or anything like that. Or so if the pool's dirty, you want to let it clean up, just quick clean, stays on for 2 or 3 hours, then shuts off and goes back. That's basically it. So
Easy.
Just got a little bit of cleanup and
yeah, that's way easier to program than from the old, when you had to do it like from the pump itself and like press on the little keypad and stuff.
There's so much more that you can mess up.
Yeah. Very cool.